Here are the top stories for today, May 10, 2022. The Commission on Elections Unbank junked motions for reconsiderations over the dismissal of disqualification cases against presidential frontrunner Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The Commission on Elections assures that the credibility of the recently concluded national and local elections will not be compromised despite the glitches and issues they faced. The Philippine National Police has dismissed the possibility of a people power scenario happening as the elections draw to a close. And an anti-addiction agency warns the public against uncontrolled use of the internet and technology. Good day, I am Stephanie Sevillano. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The Commission on Elections Unbank junked motions for reconsiderations over the dismissal of disqualification cases against presidential frontrunner Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The Comelec announced the dismissal of 3 appeals just a day after elections. Marcos's camp then expressed their gratitude for the Comelec's move. Spokesperson Attorney Vic Rodriguez insisted they have trusted a poll body to deliver fair and credible elections. Rodriguez also noted that the Unbank unanimous decision has proven the poll body's resolve to side on the truth despite political pressures. The Commission on Elections assures that the credibility of the recently concluded national and local elections will not be compromised despite the glitches and issues they faced. In a Laging Handa public briefing, Comelec Commissioner George Erwin Garcia said the untoward incidents in yesterday's elections will not affect the results. He said the citizens' arm and political parties watching over the precincts can prove that there were no irregularities. Nevertheless, he apologized for the problems that voters faced, such as the delays in voting. Garcia said, all in all, the elections went smoothly and they could proclaim the country's new leaders in a few days.
Hindi po natin tinatanggi na hindi naman po naging 100% perfect ang pag-hold po natin ng halalan. At lagi naman po sa bawat eleksyon, meron pong ganyan. Ang sinasabi lang po namin, kung nagkaroon man ng konting alingas-ngas o problema, hindi po ito makaka-apekto sa kredibilidad ng lahat ng result at definitely walang effect whatsoever. Ang makapagpapatunay po niyan ay ang ating mga partners katulad ng mga citizens arm, ang ating mga political parties na sila ay naandyan at bantay sa buong proseso ng ating pong halalan.
The Philippine National Police has dismissed the possibility of a people power scenario happening as the elections draw to a close. This came as various groups have started holding protests against the result of the elections, with some netizens calling for a people power-like rally in EDSA. PNP Officer in Charge Police Lieutenant General Vicente Dano Jr. said the result of the elections is consistent with recent surveys. He said the people had spoken with their votes, and it will be a matter of time until the public accepts the results. Dano also assured that the PNP will not infringe on the freedom of expression of protesters as long as they don't damage property and cause disturbances. Presidential frontrunner Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. thanked his supporters as he led the partial and unofficial results. And as he's on the cusp of a landslide win against rival Vice President Leni Robredo, Marcos said his expression of gratitude can't wait. Moreover, Marcos urged Filipinos to continue to remain vigilant and protect their votes.
Ngunit kahit hindi pa tapos nga ang pagbibilang, hindi makapag-antay ang aking pasasalamat sa inyo lahat, ang aking pasasalamat sa lahat ng tumulong, sa lahat ng sumapi sa aming ipinaglaban, sa inyong sakripisyo, sa inyong trabaho, at sa binigay ninyo sa amin na oras, nakakayahan, ng sipag. I want to thank you for all that you have done for us. There are thousands of you out there, volunteers, parallel groups, political leaders that have cast their lot with us because of their belief in our message of unity because of their belief in the candidates sa tambalang Marcos at saka Duterte. Kung tayo'y palarin, ay aasahan ko na yung inyong tulong ay hindi magsawa, ang inyong tiwala ay hindi magsawa. At dahil ay marami po tayong gagawin.
Vice President and presidential candidate Leni Robredo tells her supporters that they did not fail. This amidst big lead from the #1 contender for the post-Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. in the ongoing poll counting. The details from Marita Muahe.
Despite the big lead of Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., Vice President Leni Robredo encouraged her supporters and voters by telling them that they did not fail. In a pre-dawn video message on Tuesday, Robredo told her supporters that at this point, what is important is the love for the country and that the result of the election should not be a cause of disunity among the people. Robredo also urged her supporters and voters to stay strong as nothing was wasted.
Kaya sinasabi ko sa inyo ngayon, walang nasayang. Hindi tayo nabigo. Pinakamahalaga, hindi pa tayo tapos. Nagsisimula pa lang tayo. May landas na nagbukas at hindi ito sasara kasabay ng mga presinto. May kilusang isinilang at hindi ito papanaw sa pagtatapos ng bilangan.
Robredo also assured her supporters that she will not stop what she was doing and calls on them to be with her.
Wala akong planong abandonahin ang mga bagay na habang buhay ko nang ipinaglalaban. Tuloy ang trabaho ko para iangat ang buhay ng mga nasa laylayan. Tinatawag ko kayong samahan ako dito at sa iba pang mga laban.
Partial and unofficial results from Monday's national and local election continue to come in, with Robredo staying at the second post with Marcos Jr. leading the race. As the counting continues, Robredo expressed gratitude to all her supporters who stayed with her during the campaign period, as well as those who believed and voted for her. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Marita Muahe.
While partial and unofficial results for the 2022 national and local elections are still coming in, more candidates for president and vice president already conveyed their messages of thanks to their respective supporters. For Senator Panfilo Lacson, he said it was time to serve his family for a change. For Senate President Vicente Soto III, he said the people have made their choice. He said they presented an alternative for a better system in governance and politics, but the electorate had their minds conditioned elsewhere. He also said he is glad he did not yield to any political pressure and kept his integrity intact till the end. For Labor leader and Partido Lakas ng Masa presidential candidate Leody de Guzman concedes defeat this morning, noting a low number of votes. He, however, said his candidacy has put a spotlight on the issues of workers in the country. Congress will do its duty to ensure that their choice of leaders is the legitimate expression of the will of the people. Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, along with Senate President Vicente Soto III, gave the assurance as he led the initialization of the consolidation and canvassing system machine that will receive the transmission of the certificates of canvass from all over the country. Velasco called on everyone to exercise prudence and diligence to ensure the integrity of the electoral process. Meanwhile, Soto noted that under the Constitution, the election returns for President and Vice President, duly certified by the Board of Canvassers of each province and city, shall be transmitted to Congress. Soto said Congress is expected to proclaim the winners of the presidency and the vice presidency by May 27 or 28. Still ahead, President Duterte thanks his fellow Davaoeños as he bids goodbye to the presidency. Elections in the provinces go smoothly despite minor issues. We'll be back after a quick break. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Six years since he cast his vote in the elections that propelled him to the country's highest position, President Rodrigo Duterte says he has nothing but gratitude to the Baweños. After casting his vote yesterday, the president issued a short farewell speech as he was greeted by the Baweño voters outside the voting area.
Unya, ako ni ara sa Davao. So, basig civilian ako. Ug unsa may akong mahimo nimo, sama sa akong giingon ni adto pa pagsugod nako pagka-mayor. Ako, si Rodrigo Duterte, magpabilin inyong sulugon. Daghang salamat.
More provinces reports a smooth and peaceful conduct of the national and local elections. The details from Chris Crismundo.
In Bulacan, voting was interrupted for 2 hours at the Baraswain Memorial Integrated School after its vote-counting machine malfunctioned. The VCM glitch, however, has been resolved. The Bulacan Police Provincial Office said at least 15 vote-counting machines out of the almost 3,000 machines in the province malfunctioned during the voting process. In Pangasinan, school heads in various polling centers also considered the local and national elections as peaceful and smooth. School Principal Cristobal said voters cast their ballots until 7 p.m. and the Board of Election inspectors were mandated to wait for voters as long as they were within the premises by that time. Meanwhile, School Principal Edna Ramirez said some teachers who were part of the BEIs and the school utility personnel were in the school as early as 4 a.m. She also said that social distancing were implemented during the voting process. In Central Visayas, the conduct of the national and local elections was also generally peaceful. Deputy Director for Operations Colonel Noel Flores said only minor disruptions occurred in the polling centers due to the malfunction vote-counting machines, as well as incidents such as the shooting in a village on Olango Island, strafing incident in Barangay Panagtaran, San Fernando, Cebu, and commotion in Barangay Tangnan. He said this did not disrupt the general conduct of the elections. And in Bataan, the election has been smooth despite minor untoward incidents and glitches in the VCMs. Provincial Election Supervisor Lawyer Cristina Garcia said these problems have already been properly addressed. Garcia also said they received reports of some minor untoward incidents between supporters of rival candidates in some areas, but these were also given proper attention. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
In Basilan, one died while 5 others were wounded when an unidentified gunman shot at a group of voters in Tabuan, Lasa Municipality. Brigadier General Domingo Gobue, commander of the Joint Task Force Basilan, identified the fatality as Ricardo Fabian, who was killed on the spot. Wounded were Andy Reyes Jr., Narudin Gadhali, Al-Nasri Jamal, Bol Madhalis, Hakim Munir. The victims had just emerged from the polling center when the suspects shot them with high-powered firearms. Police said they have yet to ascertain the identities of the suspects. Meanwhile, the Army's 4th Infantry Division in Misamis Oriental said it would investigate election-related harassment involving soldiers in the town of Villanueva. The Army's 58th Infantry Battalion identified 2 of the 5 suspects as Corporal Joel Cabahug and Client Hapus. Cabahug and Hapus were accused of election-related harassment along with 3 other suspects, including a government militiaman and an army private. In Cagayan de Oro City, the National Movement for Free Elections, or NAMFREL, said ballot paper jams and minor glitches in the vote counting machines were experienced by voters here as well as in other places. About 120 out of 350 volunteers reported the incident as they cast their votes. Some precincts did batch feeding, in which members of the electoral board told voters to leave their ballots and let the board feed them to the VCM. This happened in one of the voting clusters in Buga Elementary School when the VCMs experienced malfunctions, although the issues were later resolved. Meanwhile, most voters told the Philippine News Agency that their experience has been smooth, despite delays due to the long queues of voters. In Eastern Visayas, only 22 out of the 6,000 VCMs have malfunctioned in Eastern Visayas during the voting on Monday. 6 were deployed in Tacloban City, 4 in Ormoc City, 2 in Haro, Dagami, and Caricara, and 1 each in Santa Fe, Cananga, Burayen, Bato, Barugo, and Albuera towns in Leyte Province. All malfunctioned machines have been fixed immediately. Among those that malfunctioned are 2 counting machines deployed at the Kapangian Central School in downtown Tacloban City. The Comelec Regional Office has yet to receive reports of malfunctioned VCMs in other 5 provinces in Eastern Visayas. The Department of Energy said at least 201 power interruptions were reported by electric cooperatives during the national and local elections. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi said the power interruptions were brief and isolated cases and mostly reported at the local level. Cusi also assured the power supply remained sufficient yesterday. The DOE said 61 out of 110 electric cooperatives experienced power outages. 67 interruptions still have unknown causes. 32 cases were caused by equipment, 29 were caused by trees, 4 were due to overloading, 3 were caused by lightning, 1 was due to major storm disaster, 1 due to power supplier, and 64 due to other causes. Toll rates at the North Luzon Expressway, or NLEX, is set to increase on Thursday, following a go signal from the Toll Regulatory Board. NLEX Corporation announced it will hike its toll by 2 pesos in the open system and 34 centavos per kilometer in the closed system. However, it says public utility jeepneys under the NLEX Pasada and Chuper car discount and rebate program will still continue to enjoy the old rates, while provincial buses will be covered by graduated rebate scheme for 3 months. More stories from the newsroom. The Nayong Pilipino and DOH hold a tree planting event to promote mental health care. The Department of Tourism promotes circuit tourism featuring the sights and scenes of the Cordillera region. Details ahead, stay with the PNA Newsroom.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Noise, pollution, overcrowding, and the series of lockdowns appear to be taking a toll on our mental health. As such, the Nayong Pilipino Foundation, or NFP, has partnered with the Department of Health for tree planting activities to bring mental health benefits to all. The project, called Sambayanihan, is a series of activities for the physical development of the 9.5-hectare property in the entertainment city in Parañaque. Since its launch in 2021, Nayong Pilipino has partnered with both private and public institutions to establish cultural park and creative hub. NFP Deputy Executive Director for Marketing and Operations Dr. Jovert Lipudan said this is to improve the mental health of the COVID-19 patients and frontliners. He said trees and green spaces have helped improve both our physical and mental health throughout the pandemic and will continue to do so in the new normal. An anti-addiction agency warns the public against uncontrolled use of the internet and technology which harm people physically and psychologically. The Green Crescent of Turkey said misuse of technology is a type of addiction that manifests itself with sub-behaviors such as behavioral addictions, internet gaming disorder, and excessive use of social media and smartphones. The problems caused by technology addiction include physical ailments and social complaints and isolation. To help people deal with these issues, Green Crescent Counseling Center provides free support to those aged 12 and above. Research by the United Kingdom-based Global Web Index last year showed the average daily time spent on the internet worldwide was 6 hours and 58 minutes. Green Crescent recommends a maximum of 120 minutes of screen time daily for people at least 12 years old. The Department of Tourism is inviting tourists to try circuit tourism, featuring the food, culture, nature, and destinations of the Cordillera Administrative Region. The circuit includes the vegetable and flower farms along Alcema Highway, traversing Benguet's capital, La Trinidad, towards the flower garden of Atok Municipality, and the vegetable farms in Buguias. It will lead straight to Mountain Province and the newly reopened Mount Data Hotel, which will serve as a crucial tourism facility that could host domestic and international tourism. Leading further to the north is Sagada with its caves and waterfalls. From there, tourists can drive to the Ifugao Rice Terraces, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The DOT has also included a moto caravan, which starts in Baguio City, then goes to Atok Farms and makes a stop in Bauco before heading to Banaue in Ifugao. In sports, Filipino kickboxer Jean-Claude Saclag is on his way to getting a gold medal at the 31st Southeast Asian Games. Saclag is facing Vietnam's Vu Truong Giang for a spot at the gold medal round today. If he wins, Saclag will face either Chalamlap Santidong Sakun of Thailand or Sandra Kim of Cambodia in the gold medal round. Saclag was a Wushu World Cup champion in Sanda and clinched a silver medal at the Incheon 2014 Asian Games. He won gold in the same kickboxing event at the 2019 Southeast Asian Games played at the Cuneta Astrodome in Pasay City. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. The Commission on Elections and Bank junked motions for reconsiderations over the dismissal of disqualification cases against presidential front-runner Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. The Commission on Elections assures that the credibility of the recently concluded national and local elections will not be compromised despite the glitches and issues they faced. The Philippine National Police has dismissed the possibility of a people power scenario happening as the elections draw to a close. And an anti-addiction agency warns the public against uncontrolled use of the internet and technology. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear face masks, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PZOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell you stories that inspire change. I'm Stephanie Civiliano. Good day.